Hey everybody, it's Angela, and I am back with an altered book today. And I've already had to start with this. This is an old veterinary manual, and I've left the first few pages with the copyright of 1955 on there. Then I removed the second section, trying to leave as much of that cloth binding together as possible. And then I took some Liquitex matte gel medium and I painted it around the outside of the rest of the pages, leaving it in 2 blocks. So that way it kind of stuck the pages together, which makes it a little bit easier for me to cut some cavities to fit these little matchbox drawers into. And this is nothing new. I've seen a lot of people put these little drawers in their altered books, but I've never tried it myself. So this was kind of a dry run for me. I also have some I have a Tim Holtz 2-ring binder mechanism I'm going to put in the gap that I made. And this is kind of a test for me because I want to put some 6-ring binder mechanisms in a few books. So I thought I'd go ahead and try with this one first. And this clip, it went flying here in a minute, and I still have not found it. It's somewhere in my craft room. Yeah. So what I did was I just kind of measured out for my cavities, and then I'm going to use an X-Acto knife and I'm going to cut down to the depth so that the top of the box is flush to this block of pages. And having them glued together on the outside just makes it a little bit easier to work with the cutting. That way your pages don't slip around on you or anything. It kind of holds it all together and makes it a little easier. And then the other block of pages that I have weighted down there, I will flip those over and glue them onto the top of these matchboxes so that it's all kind of set into the book. And you'll see that here more in just a few minutes when I get to that portion. And this book was one that I had in my stash. I have a little box of books that I can alter, and I wasn't ever quite sure what to do with it because it's a veterinary manual, so some of the pages, you can imagine some of the topics in here are pretty base, and so it wasn't something that I really wanted to save the pages and do things with. But I did like the shape of it, that it was short and small, but it was deep enough to really do something with. And so I thought, well, now that we have a puppy, maybe I can turn this into a little mini album for him. And so that's kind of what my thought is at this point. But again, like I said, I'm just kind of trying out all these ideas and kind of using this as my demo piece. So you just kind of keep peeling these sections out and peeling them out until you get down to a depth where your matchbox sits flat in there. And then once I reach that, I want to go ahead and cut in all 3 of them. And it does take a little bit of time and a little bit of strength in your hands to do that. I do suggest using a brand new blade in your X-Acto knife. That helps so much when you do that. And so I'm liking how this is coming along. So I go ahead and do it for the other 2. And then I take some black ink and I ink the kind of outside edge of the matchbox cover or sleeve, just in case some of that shows on the end there. And you can see how I just took a little bit of black. You don't have to do the whole thing because only that front edge may possibly show. And then I did the outsides of the little matchbox drawers with just a black. I think I used like black StazOn ink, but you could paint them. I was just afraid that if I painted it, that it might thicken up the drawers a little bit and it would make them a little bit harder to slide within these sleeves. They might bind a little more, whereas an ink or a stain is really thin and wouldn't interfere with the drawer slide. So now I'm just painting more of that matte gel medium. You could probably use Mod Podge, would be just fine, just some kind of glue. and it's holding the inside of those block of pages together, and it is gluing the sleeve in there. Now you don't want to have your drawer in at this moment because you might accidentally glue the back of your drawer into your book. So just leave the drawers out at this point. I'm just touching up a few little white edges I see. So I'm liking that. I'm going to go ahead though and put just a piece of paper up to the edge of those just to make sure that the top is covered. If that block that I'm going to glue down to it is warped in any way, it might show something underneath there. So I thought, well, I'll just go ahead and kind of cover this area up first, and then then I will glue that smaller block of pages onto the top, and then that will finish the drawer section. And I did on the top of that second block that I'll glue down here, I left it at a page where it's talking about like dog nutrition, dog food nutrition. So it was a topic that wasn't too gross, that will show. I didn't cover it at the end of this. I'll probably wind up putting a library pocket on the top and covering some of that up. But I did kind of look at my text and the topics that were showing, just so it wasn't too off-putting. Of course, if you were a veterinarian, this would make a great little journal or book, great Christmas gift. And Christmas is definitely fast approaching. So now I've glued that smaller block down to the larger one, and I'm just going to put another coat of the matte medium gel around the outside edge just to hold those two blocks together and make it look all cohesive. And I really like how it turned out. I think the drawer thing is really cute. I don't know what I'm going to put in there. I did pick up one of his the puppy's baby teeth when it fell out. I guess I could put that in there, or maybe an old set of his dog tags at some point, or little things like that. So while this dries, I'm just going to set something heavy on it and just leave that. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to put these two pieces of cardboard in this open section that I created. And these are to hold the binder mechanisms. And you can see when I removed those pages, it kind of ripped some of the old mesh that was behind there, but there's quite a bit of it still together. And then the binding cloth that's on the top and bottom edge is still there. So I want to make sure I have glue all the way to that binding edge, because that cloth on the top and bottom is a little bit stronger than the mesh in the middle. So I cut my holes for the binder mechanism, and now I'm going to sandwich these two pieces of, it's just like cereal box board here, to the top and bottom of this mesh portion of the book, and that'll help strengthen the whole thing and strengthen the book up and the binding up. I could have put the binder mechanism, I could have attached it to the very outside of the book, but I wanted it to be able to open flat like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and get this pressed down, and you can see this is one of those books where the cover is kind of separate from where the binding is. I don't know if that makes sense on the spine. So the spine isn't glued directly down to the cover spine. And I like that because it lets a book open out a little flatter. So now I'm just going to go ahead and set this aside to dry. And that kind of cleans up that whole section and makes it look nice. Now here's the finished book. And I'm going to walk you through the supplies that I used and then just do a flip through. I used this Kelly Panacci K & Company paper that I had, and I just took one sheet of each. There's 3 sheets of each kind in here, and I just took one of each, and I still have a lot left over of those single sheets that I pulled out. And so that's the paper that I use throughout. And then because this was the Tim Holtz 2-ring binder mechanism that I used, I had to punch my own holes. So I used my We Are Memory Keepers hole punch to do that. And then I also used for my drawer pulls some Tim Holtz hitch posts in the kind of gold, which kind of matched the gold lettering on the front of the book. And I left the lettering there since I am going to use this as like an animal mini album. I used some metal pieces, these little corner pieces I originally got from Saw Crafters, who is no longer in business. This drawer pull label holder is from my stash, as well as this piece and 2 more like it that I put on the spine. Just little gold metal pieces that I used some E6000 to glue on there. I have a binder bullnose clip there on the top with a few pieces of ephemera and a tag that I made from the K&Co collection. And then I used my Dymo, or I guess that's a Rotex labeler, to type out the word Henry, which I also clipped in there. Now on the front I put these waterfall pages. They hide the brads that label pull I had to use on the front. And I used this Thinlits by Sizzix for the waterfall pages and for some of the tags that are in this. And then I left these pages kind of alone. And then here is the binder mechanism that I put in there. I just used brads to hold that on. And it was bright silver, so I did take some of the Adirondack inks and just kind of colored it a little bit just to make it, I don't know, a little more heritage looking, I guess. And then this little pocket and tag here are from Elizabeth Crafts, and I used a lot of Elizabeth Craft dies because these are newer dies in my stash. So I used this one and the tab and that little folder out of this die. And I think the tag is from the waterfall die set. I used these 2 little flags from this die. Let's see, I also used some of these texts like happy and epic and stuff out of that die set. This is the seed packet, and I did use it. I changed it up, made it into a pocket, but I did use it in here. And I also used the this is the life and memories, I think, out of this die set. And I used the Sizzix mini album. I was going to put a little mini in there, but it got too full, so I think I only wind up using the banner and maybe that tag. But there's some cute little things in this little mini album die set. And and then the Elizabeth Crafts, these are like the little binder, what do they call, page reinforcers. You can see here they have all different designs, so every time I was die cutting I just slipped one of those on the page, and then I had a bunch of them to use. So I put the reinforcers pretty much on every single page and tag. And there you can see I rounded the corners of these little sheets that I cut out and ran through my We Are Memory Keeper hole punch. I put 4 tabs across or down the pages. You can see, so there's some of the Elizabeth Craft. Those were just some extra Elizabeth Craft cuts. This is the little seed packet that I turned into kind of a pocket with a tag. Then just put some little reinforcers on it and punched holes in it. There's the memories and another tab, and then another one of those little pockets with the tag in it, and I just put some string through there. And like I said, on that text page, I think I'm going to put a library pocket. I just have to find them in my stash. And so that is the finished book, you guys, and I really had fun. It turned out way better than I thought because, like I said, this was just kind of a trial run. I have some 6-ring binders that work with those Elizabeth Craft dies that I'm going to alter some other books using, so look for that in the future. And so that is my finished book. I really had a lot of fun making it, and yeah, I'll decorate it more when I put the pictures in. I just put some basic decoration to get it started, but otherwise I kind of like to decorate when I actually put my photos and stuff in there. So that is my finished project. If you guys have any questions on the products that I used or any of the portion how I did it, that might not have been clear, just leave me a comment down below. And thank you guys so much for watching. Give me a thumbs up, and if you liked it and want to see more of this, I'm hoping to have more altered books coming in the future. And yeah, I just had a great time. So again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.